flag.
United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call. Mr. Coleman here. Mr. Gallagher here. Mr. Edwards is here. I'd like a motion to approve the minutes of the April 10th, 2012 regular meeting as written. Do I have a motion?
I'll make a motion.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Public comment. If somebody wants to comment, they should step up here to the podium and comment.
I'd like to read the minutes because there's some confusion as to why we're here. My name is Melvin Nally. The last time I was here, I believe that you all decided that you're going to abolish the International Code. This first, second, a unanimous decision. I'd like to know why it was tabled, and it's the same question again tonight because that was passed. Somebody clue me on what happened, or better yet, read the minutes and let me know what happened.
The minutes would be available after the meeting.
Well, the thing is, it has something to do.
Hey, if the noise starts, we're adjourning the meeting.
No good.
Adjourn the meeting.
It was, that motion was part of the minutes. So if you only want to read that part, that's fine. But it's pertinent to the issue.
Let me try to clarify, and if I'm incorrect, someone help. The motion was made to abolish, which was probably improperly phrased because we never had a code. That was supposed to be a motion to act on whether or not it was to be adopted, and it was never adopted. So the International Property Code was never adopted by this township. Let me finish.
All right.
At last month's meeting, what happened was there was some discussion about whether or not the township wanted to adopt the international, whatever it's called, code. And it was decided that we needed to have a committee established for the purpose of looking at this code to determine whether or not it would be recommended by that committee to the supervisors that that code should be adopted in total or in part or simply some...
But that wasn't stated in the vote.
It was stated.
That was last month.
That was
That's
last
why I
month.
say if you would read the minutes, it would be much clearer to me.
We cannot abolish something we don't have.
So in any event, this committee was established for the purpose of recommending to the township what code, if any, the township should have. And that's what happened.
Then you have to abolish, or you have to rescind that motion according to Robert's Rules of Order. You have to rescind that in order to continue.
Rescind what? The motion?
The motion. You made a motion, you have to rescind it to continue.
Rescind the motion and do what?
Do what we asked you to do.
Which is what?
You want me to rephrase it, and I'll ask you again.
Yeah, what do you want us to do?
Okay? I'll rephrase it and add to it. I'd like for the township to abolish all international property maintenance codes that was ever adopted in Upper Tyrone Township. Okay? Does that make it clear and concise?
That makes it clear, yeah.
And also, in addition to that, form your own ordinances pertinent to this township. And if I'm wrong, tell me, people. Isn't that why we were here last time?
Hey, Melvin.
That ain't what we're going to do.
Well, we will.
That ain't what we're going to do.
Any other comments?
Township Supervisors, come here again to address this issue. One of the topics on everybody's mind in this day and age is bullying. You see it on the playground. But you see it in adult life as well. Bullying started back before the days of Noah's flood, when the sons of men took wives, whoever they pleased. The earth was filled with violence. We may have called them dictators. Dictatorship has a long history of bullying. Bullying is a milder version of dictatorship. Roland Huntford was a journalist for the London Observer. He's still alive, elderly gentleman, prolific author. One of the books that he wrote, as a result of him being a journalist, he was stationed in Sweden, covered Scandinavia. It was a book with the title, The New Totalitarians. The old totalitarians were represented by people like Adolf Hitler, Mussolini, Stalin, Mao Zedong. They were violent, they confiscated, they ran people's lives in a way where they had no regard for the rights of others. But the new totalitarians are quite different. They come as your friends. What they try to do, as Mr. Huntford pointed out, is regulate your life to the point where little by little you have no freedom. Regulation piled upon regulation upon regulation. That is where we stand today. That is why we oppose these regulations. I've heard it said that all the townships in Pennsylvania, or most, have a property maintenance code. I grew up in Montgomery County, Pennsylvania, outside of Philadelphia, Upper Tyrone Township. The supervisors in 2009 considered the International Property Maintenance Code. It was tabled indefinitely, never adopted, because the supervisors felt that it was too intrusive on the property rights of others. Ohio, many townships there also considered it and rejected it, and they have no property maintenance codes. For Upper Township of Montgomery County, there's no code enforcement officer. They have no property maintenance codes. Property maintenance codes are a form of bullying. They steadily infringe upon the rights of people who have property. In the early days of our country, the only people who could vote were people who held property, owned property. Why? Because they had experiences in Europe where their rulers confiscated property. Property rights are one of the most precious rights that we as Americans have, guaranteed not only by the Constitution, but by the Word of God as well. And so we ask that this be dropped once and for all, and not be voted on, killed, to be resurrected at future meetings when it is expected that people will not come simply because they thought that the issue was already laid to rest. Thank you.
Okay. Treasurer's report.
Actually, I have a comment as well. You mentioned it may have been improperly phrased at the March meeting. What rules of conduct do we operate under that we could make a determination like that? The discussion was clear that the desire was to put that ordinance to rest and develop something locally. But what rules of order do we operate under that would allow
Let me
us
ask
to
you a
vacate a
question.
vote?
Just so I understand what you're saying. There was a motion made to consider adopting an updated version of the property maintenance code.
Okay.
Okay, not to, and that motion, the motion that Chuck made was to abolish it. What it meant was not to vote.
Well,
So it
somebody
never
didn't make the
happened.
motion.
Well, okay, but it never happened. So we're back to status quo, except for this committee that you were on that has not yet met for the purpose of recommending to the board whether it should.
Right. That's what we're waiting on.
Okay, so I guess I'm confused. The discussion leading up to it was to get rid of the 2012 edition, well, the property maintenance code.
Right.
So we have one on the books.
We have whatever was on the books before that meeting, but nothing new.
Okay. One thing I wanted to bring to you also is, in mentioning about bullying, the United Nations has been pushing something called Agenda 21, which is a usurpation of private property rights with the goal of controlling our private property to control all of our interaction with the environment. Something like the International Property Maintenance Code fits right into their agenda.
it gives significant control to the government over private property to the point where it wouldn't be a very big stretch to just say, sorry, you don't own your property anymore, even if we still hold title.
That is a stretch.
Not very much. This code
What
has...
you're saying is a stretch.
No, what this code would do is allow every aspect of a person's ownership to be governed. It goes way beyond addressing tall grass and inoperable vehicles and garbage and rats. If the rats represent a risk to public health, I have no issue with mitigating a risk to someone's health. If garbage, a rat food essentially, getting thrown in someone's front yard, is gassing out the neighbors so they're sick to their stomach, or attracting the rats, let's take care of that.
That's what this is about.
Well, this code goes way beyond that.
Well, that's why we formed a committee of you three
Okay.
to come up with something. You didn't come up with anything.
Well, we haven't yet been able to meet.
Nathan,
Well-
you can read that if you want to, everybody.
Well,
A lot of point of views.
In addition, I'd like to present, we have 133 signatures. Some of, I don't know how many of the people are here, of people who agree that we don't want an international property maintenance code. So would you be willing to make a motion to table indefinitely the 2012 IPMC and allow us to do what you asked, which is to come up with something local, which was the agreement several weeks ago when you voted. Somehow I doubt when you sat in March and voted unanimously to abolish the International Property Maintenance Code, I would hope the first thought going through your mind was, yes, we've got them, because we can't really do this, so they're all going to leave and we can bring it back up in April, which is what happened. Now, the minutes weren't written until towards the end of March. And I would hope that, let's call it the common sense that we saw at the March meeting would prevail, and that we would allow something locally to be developed, but to push this off to the side so it's not a looming threat to our residents. And I think it'd be easier for the committee to function if our job wasn't to try to convince the supervisors why we shouldn't have the International Property Maintenance Code, but rather to present to you something extremely limited in scope, something that preserves private property rights without dictating every aspect of a person's home for it to be enforced that way. And if the concern is tall grass, parked cars, rats, and garbage, I find even tall grass and parked cars a stretch. It's not harming anyone at that point. I am fully supportive of a person's right to life. If someone else's actions are going to harm them, then it should be addressed. I have a great amount of respect for a person to own private property and to be secure in it. And if my actions or someone else's threaten someone else's private property, then there should be protection for that. But what's in this code is a threat to my right to be secure in my private property.
Okay, that's good. I've heard what you had to say. I'd like a motion to
Hey, Bill, one more thing.
come on up front.
On the last meeting, I was a little confused about your committee you formed. If your committee comes to you with a recommendation not to adopt any codes, are you going to accept their recommendation?
Maybe, it depends on what the reason for the recommendation is.
It's yes or not, you're going to be wasting those three people's time if they don't come up with the answer that you want.
Well, the answer they're going to come up with is going to be some kind of a code. is what it'll be.
It's what he wants, that's all it is.
What about what we want?
Can I say something?
What about what the property owner?
Who do you work for, you or us?
Yeah, who you work for?
I have
for
a
anyway.
question. Is this meeting, the committee, do they have to be advertised to have this committee to meet in the paper?
Yes.
So therefore, if the committee has to advertise it in the paper, and that's why they never met, why are we even having a meeting? Why don't you let the public put something on paper, leave it here, sign their name to it, take public comment, because no matter if you have a public meeting or not, you are all still all going to be here, and everybody else is, and they're not going to get nothing accomplished anyway.
Well, the committee had 30 days.
And they all wrote their comments down, but they never got to meet.
Why not?
I every time they wanted to advertise it, there was somebody that had something else to do.
Well, maybe they should try it
So
next month.
maybe you should take public comment and put paper out, let people put their comments down on paper, let everybody look at their comment on these three guys.
Okay, I hear you.
Well,
I'd still like to
they
have
live
a
here, so
committee
they're
meeting.
taxes.
Okay, treasurer's report.
Treasurer's report as of 5/14/2012, checking First Commonwealth Bank, $226,740.34, minus the $19,065 DCED grant and $27,150 DCNR grant, leaving $180,525.34 available funds. Light Fund, $5,297.77. State Fund, $95,093.50. Laurel Mountain Midstream Incorporated escrow account, $16,755.21. Certificate of deposits, First Federal Greene County, $344,292.62. Pliget, $4,119.21, leaving a total of $348,411.83. PNC Treasury notes, $304,010.49.
Do I have a motion to accept the treasury report?
Motion.
Second? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion to pay bills?
I'll make a motion. Abstain, I don't see
I'll second it. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Bills are here every few days.
Certain bills are here every day. I don't see them all.
Okay, correspondence and other communication. What do we have?
The only communication I have is from the Fayette County Hard to Recycle drop-off event, and this event's going to be held Saturday, May 19th at the Fayette County Fairgrounds from 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. And they accept the following items for recycling: used motor oil, used tires, large steel appliances, old electronic items. And I have the list if anybody wants to have a copy or see it. That's it.
Okay, unfinished business. I'd like a motion to close the receiving of bids for road materials and for various township roads. Do I have a motion?
I'll make a motion. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, carried. A motion to open the bids received for road materials for various township roads. Do I have a motion?
Yeah, make it.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Chuck, you want to open them?
I got a question about what you said. You said about all the doors not being open, was there stuff that's not being said and being hidden? And
It's not true.
I'm just asking, you said there were two bills, I'm just asking, there's stuff being hidden that's being bought that we don't know about?
Nope.
Why would you make a comment that saying not everything's out on the open?
Well, it come to my attention a while back that something was done, that a banker called me up. And I don't want to get into it, but I was chairman of the board. When I found out there was money, cashier's check for cash, I said, no, you don't. I'm just saying, I'm just telling the truth. I'm just telling the truth.
Funds that's being misused.
I don't know. That's why I don't see all the funds.
Check out about this. There's something going on, Mr. Edwards, nobody's saying about?
That was hashed over numerous times in the last 2 or 3 years.
That's right.
And
Well, if there's
somebody is trying to
misappropriated
cover
spending,
his
check out.
inadequacy.
Well, if there's misappropriated spending.
No, there's no
check out.
misappropriated spending. Somebody's just trying to blow smoke, that's all.
Well,
votes does it take to throw you out?
Yeah, right now. We'll take a vote on it.
Raise your hand if you want to throw him out. That's a lot of people.
In order to do our business, want to hold your comments, come up and hold them properly, please. Thank you.
I said, how many people does it take to throw him out?
Him too. That's up to the election bureau and the people that do it.
How many people is there?
Yeah, how many?
I don't know.
We should have.
Call the election, call the election bureau.
Give me their number. You write it down?
We'll give it to you. What's your name?
Ronnie Youngson.
Okay, we have a bid from Moyer for $57,816.20.
I'd like to make a comment when
Sir, public comment motions, but we're opening bids now.
Very interesting.
$57,816.20.
And it's still early.
Moyer. This one is from Donegal. And it's $67,229. This was from El Grande. And it's $66,600. And this one is from Morgan, Bell Vernon. And it's $66,600. Is that what it is?
Yeah, there was only four.
It was
Well,
on
Moyer's the cheapest.
Moyer is the
And
low bidder.
Moyer does a beautiful job.
Moyer is a reputable.
He does good.
Do I have a motion to,
I make a motion for Moyer to pay.
to contract for Moyer?
I'm going to accept it.
Accept it.
Yeah, to accept
Moyer's,
it.
yes. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Now, I have a question for Moyer. I read about an edger that they use, they put on their machine that will taper the edges of the road so that there's not a real hard drop off because it makes the road safer to run on. Did you contact Moyer about that? It's an edger, it's in the Township magazine.
Well, they curb them too, so water don't run in your...
Well, I want the ones where there's berms. Okay, we have a resolution here. Prevailing wage reform resolution to increase the amount required to be required to hire, to pay prevailing wage for state contracts. From, let's see, 25,000 to 185,000, right? you like to make a motion to adopt this resolution?
For boosting it up.
Yeah, that's what we're saying.
I mean, we're trying to get local contractors
Right,
doing our work.
right.
I'd sooner pay a local contractor.
Right.
than pay.
All right, will you make a motion?
I'll make a motion.
All right, I'll second it. All in favor? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
No.
International Property Maintenance Code. Do I have a motion? To advertise the adoption of the updated property maintenance code with the possible changes that would be recommended and advised by the committee that was in place last month.
No.
We have to wait till we get information from the committee, Bill, no matter what.
Nathan and Tom, they gotta give their comments. My comments will be here for everybody to see. I'll leave this here. My comments are 2.5 pages and everything's outlined on my position on this. And I just want Nathan and Tom to get there, and we'll stick everything here and everybody can review it. I mean, there's things that's in there that's okay.
Are you
Don't get me
three going to have a meeting?
Let's have our meeting, Sam.
Read it.
We'll do it.
Let's have it now.
Everybody's here, have one now.
Read your dues.
Three people.
Yeah, they have to advertise.
Three
You
people.
have to advertise it to make it legal.
It will be advertised. Will you have a meeting?
Yeah, it's up to Tom, and Tom's busy sometimes. Nathan's busy too sometimes.
You've got to be able to work it in.
We could have met, but we were unable to advertise because of the conference.
The convention,
We actually had a date,
right. It was Friday.
so we are able to come to a date and meet. We
Well, it
just-
takes 2 days to get it in the newspaper.
Yes, so we will give you the adequate notice.
And that'll be Sam's does that.
Sure.
Now, you are going to come back with recommendations to either adopt, don't adopt, or some other recommendation so that we have some way to enforce privacy between individuals. In other words, if your yard is a terrible mess or however you want to say, and it encroaches on my yard, which is beside you, we have to have some rules to adopt to take care of that.
Well, we'll get liabilities. Everybody that's a property owner should have liabilities on their properties. That means if a tree falls on somebody else's property, now my insurance got to pay for your damage.
That's not
I think they're saying
No.
they want the neighbor to turn.
My ground ain't got nothing to do with his.
A neighbor to turn you in.
Nobody wants anybody to turn you in.
Hey, we shot him a long time ago.
At least we thought.
Remember that? He's back again.
All right, so
Okay, now,
that failed.
are you going to have a meeting and put something together?
Nathan, Tom, is Tom here? I think those here. When Tom and Nathan tell me that we'll have a meeting,
Well, why
I'll
don't
call Lori.
you, why don't you
and
tell
I'll tell
them?
her to advertise it.
Why don't you tell them?
I'm telling them right now.
I just want to clarify something. You should be the one directing it to be advertised. And it would be helpful if you provided her with whatever advertising she said. So in other words, what the committee is, when it's going to be, where it's going to be, for what purpose.
Mr. Chairman, may I ask two questions?
Are you a resident?
Yes, I am. My name is Bill Steiner. I do live in Mount Pleasant, but I own the rental property here. Are you all aware that, Southmoreland School Board has unilaterally raised our taxes here, school taxes, only for Upper Tyrone Township, not anybody else, nobody in Westmoreland County. We all aware of that? Okay, that's one question.
Well, that's because we're Fayette County.
Yeah, but how can you do that? It seems unfair. They're only raising, anyhow, that was not my most important. Now, there's a reason for everything we do, and this is very brief. With Agenda 21 efforts, there's usually a promise made to you folks in these municipalities for some kind of a grant or some sort of financial benefit if you pass this kind of ordinance. My question to you is, can you assure us that you've not been promised some lucrative grant or some amount of money that we don't know about in return for passing an ordinance like this? Because you're awfully anxious to pass it, and if so many of us are against it, something's wrong. I've worked in a prison testing inmates for 21 years, and I'm a pretty good observer of behavior. Just smoke that through a little.
You didn't answer.
Yeah, I'd like the answer to that one, please.
Hey, we get
No.
Okay.
I said the answer is no.
Is the answer no?
Yes.
So that there's no financial incentive for passing this?
Right.
No, get back!
What's the reason for it, then? We don't want it.
What's the reason we don't want it?
What's motivating?
The health, safety, and welfare of the
that
township.
ain't it.
That ain't it.
And we're gonna shut it
Talk
down.
about that road down Railroad Street. You want to talk about health and safety. That road's nothing but dirt and potholes and mud and sewage. And I've been there for 20 years paying my taxes, and they don't do a thing about it. It's not your department.
You just want to come in my grounds and tell me what to do.
Where are these resolutions, these things?
Hey, there's one guy on the phone here.
This one, well, they're actual plans. I'll have to look at them. They were, something.
Now that we put them in there, we can take them out.
Leave them here. I'll take them out. Usually Lori has. Oh my God.
Somewhere.
Last, words I heard out of your mouth was the health, safety of the community. Okay.
Well, that's not all.
Well, it seems to be high on your agenda. My question is, why do we not have a police force in the township? There's a lot of more people being killed by drugs and other illegal activities in this township than by tall grass, weeds, and mice. I don't understand. You used to have one. Can you just let us know what happened? And
I can guess because I wasn't here then, but there was a disagreement as to the way the police officer operated, and he resigned.
I know, but we don't have a community center. Other townships have community centers. We don't have a police force. It's just like whatever you want to do here, you can do.
Well, we don't.
And this is a good example of it. You're just doing whatever you want to do. We don't have any voice in it. It's just not right. And I'd also like to make a motion like I did last time to rescind all national maintenance codes that's ever been adopted by Upper Tyrone Township.
You want local codes, more or less.
I'd like to hear that effect.
From everybody, I welcome.
That's what we tried to
The
do the last
suggestions
time.
from everybody, I
We
welcome.
tried to do it the last time. Your attorney changed things around a little bit so that it looked like
All right,
you did.
all right.
But I'd like to see that on the agenda.
All right.
Because it was missing last time.
Okay. We got you. Faye Penn Economic. Do you guys have any comments
He wants it
I want a
bad.
motion, please. That's all I'm
He wants
asking.
it bad.
concerning the PennDOT property
Yeah,
project.
we're just here, basically, the plan's been presented to you guys. If you have any questions relative to the roadway extension into the Kendall Farm for the proposed industrial development, I'm here to answer any questions that you may have. We're trying to get the Fayette County Planning Commission to approve the extension. Not asking for you to take the road over. It will be a private road into a private development. It will be built to a standard that at some point in the future, if you want to take it over and put it into your liquid fuels program, that standard will be there. We will certainly be upgrading your portion of the road to make sure that it's wide enough and is of sufficient pavement structure to handle the traffic in and out. And if you have any questions, I'm here to answer it. I did bring another set of plans in case you want to take a look at them.
Yes.
But right now, we're just looking to answer your questions and to try to get this thing through the planning commission to begin just construction of the road right now.
Right, well, this is, the comment that I have is,
Make it quick.
you and Whitmer Engineering, Glenn, both, I saw Glenn last week, and I indicated to him that, I'd like to see you guys get together and talk about what you're doing, because he represents us.
Yes.
And the 3,100 feet or whatever it is of road, we shouldn't have a problem with that because it's a private road anyway. The stormwater bond, same thing. The NPDES permit, now that, we feel we need to take a good look at that because it's going to affect us downstream, down the road because of the additional burden it will put on our system. And that's the concern we have about that.
Okay. And like I explained previous it was actually not in this meeting, but the sewage authority meeting, I don't know whether the Act 167 plan has been adopted in Upper Tyrone yet or not, but that plan technically gives you some ability for corrective action downstream to allow us, I think it's upwards of 20%, make us hold back water of upwards of 20%, and that's the state law in the Act 167 plan. So if there is problems, we can certainly size our stormwater management facility to hold back some additional water and decrease the amount of flow downstream. But we're not talking about a huge impact from this roadway on stormwater. The pond's not a very big pond to begin with, so if we need to do some type of corrective action to work with the township, we certainly have that ability.
Well, I don't have a problem with this phase of it. Do you? You have any comments?
I got a comment.
About retention. That's for just stormwater.
Yeah.
That's correct.
There's a fellow over here that has a comment.
Okay, thank you.
I got a question.
Addressing this man's issue right here. Is it going to have any effect on the red light off 119, Prittstown?
We've been working with PennDOT, and based on the traffic studies, there's no effect on that.
That tells me it takes me 10 minutes longer to get home since they put that crazy red light in there. The design to be left-hand turn off that eye. And no cross traffic. The idiots that come up with that idea should be hung up. I mean, they put more traffic on the old road, crowds, you follow the school bus home at night, 25, 30 cars. So
I'm not
now
sure.
we're going to overload the Kennedy Road with all this traffic.
There's not a lot of traffic. We're not talking, this is not a development that's a large traffic generator. I can't address your problems about the design of the light. I wasn't the engineer to design the light. I can tell you that our proposed development is not a large traffic generator. In the traffic study, as it was studied by PennDOT, we do not have an effect on that.
I do have something. And we intend to go to a meeting on June 7th, 5 o'clock at the Fayette County Chamber of Commerce building in Uniontown. and it is the Southwestern Pennsylvania Commission that deals with roads, bridges, stuff like that. And I think they've got money. I'm not sure, but I think they do. And this is planning like maybe 1, 2, 3 years in advance. There will be the county commissioners there, and will be PennDOT there, I believe. And this is the last shot we have. Because we've written and had petitions twice to get that island down there. And we were rejected both times.
There's plenty of people going over the island.
I know they are, and I keep telling them that. And there's also farmers having to run down that road, and it's...
And they go over the island.
Doing road maintenance is a pain.
Anyway, I would hope that we could get...
Illegally.
Do you mind? I would hope that we get as many residents at this meeting as we could get.
When's it going to be?
June the 7th, at 5 o'clock in Uniontown, the Chamber of Commerce Building, 65 West Main Street.
Is that going to be put in the paper by chance?
It was in the paper. It was in the Trib right here last week. If you want to write it down, you can. The meeting's over.
Okay. Another call, you people were elected by the taxpayers of this county.
Right.
I think you need to make a better effort to get it all together. It's a shame. Our country's going downhill. And this United Nations thing that you're trying to push through, it's sure not a godsend. You study what the United Nations for is, not for our country.
Well, this thing is all encompassing. This is code.
Yes, destroy all our
And
country.
it's probably a little bit too stretched, probably too far-fetched, I would say. And it needs to be fine-tuned.
Well, I think if you stay away from the international point and focus on the local people and let them work together with you people, come up with a solution.
I agree.
I mean, I don't know how your committee set up, but I surely hope you're not going to try to do it all in one meeting. It never works.
Well, that
It needs some time.
It depends on them.
Well, it needs some time. If they can't get it together, put another committee on.
Yes.
What are you going to do? Okay, thank you.
Thank you. We did have a resolution to authorize the automated red light reinforcement program. I'd like to have a motion to table this.
Motion?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye. We table it so we can look into some
We can look into some
wording
of
of the agreement.
some of the possible liabilities involved. Okay, that's it, I guess. Do I have a motion to adjourn? Want to talk?
Yeah, I'll talk to the engineer about the industrial part. I have a problem with your runoff, because I live downstream from it. I can take you there right now and show you a little creek, look like the Colorado River. I don't know how much you're gonna run off, you're gonna have up there, but I'm going to be on the lower end of it. There's 2 small seats up there, been there for years. And I didn't care what's gonna happen when you start having runoff from how many blacktop highways, parking lots, and buildings, whatever else you're gonna have up there. I know there's a catch basin, but I'll show you if you want to.
Certainly, I would love the opportunity for you to show me, but I can tell you that our development will not produce any more runoff in your direction than previous. And if the supervisors want and direct us to, we'll certainly retain up to 20%, which is allowed by law, onto the property to decrease somewhat. I can't correct the naturally occurring problem that you have now, but I can certainly design something that will not make your problem any worse, and hopefully maybe correct it somewhat, but I can't take your problem away.
And who's going to be responsible if it doesn't work?
If it doesn't work, I am responsible. I have to sign the plan, I have to maintain the plan. My signature's on the plan, I have to certify that it was constructed according to my plan. I carry liability insurance to certify it.
And how long do they last? Well, when you start building, there'll be a claim, because I know what's going to happen.
Okay?
I had a question about the elected auditors we have here that are allowed to audit the books. Especially when this little, whatever thing just came up about causing money problems. Magically, our own auditors can't audit our books. And they're elected by everybody in this room.
We have a professional CPA doing our auditing, that's what he does for a living.
Yeah, that's fine, I understand that.
And
But we still have elected people that are supposed to be doing it, they're not allowed to even see it.
Well, they can see it. They can see it.
So they can come in and audit the books.
No, they can look at the audit.
They're auditors, though. How can the auditors not be allowed to audit the books?
Because we don't use the auditors, that's why we use a CPA, separate contract.
So we voted on officials that aren't allowed to do their job.
They do their job, they do one part of their job, yes.
They're auditors, if they can't audit, how are they doing any part of their job?
Well, it's our option to do that according to code.
Is there stuff being hidden while you won't allow that?
No.
It's an interesting question, because it sounds like how can you not allow them to audit the books if they are auditors elected for our township by the people in this township?
We don't realize that we voted for these people, and it's their job to make the decision. They don't have to listen to a thing we say.
Have somebody on the state government general have this checked out.
They're here right now.
They don't get paid, just a little bit for the meeting.
General fund, life fund, and state fund. McHugh is the guys on the books. He only does this.
Take a look, check into this, see about what they can and can't do.
I even switched from Republican to Democrat to do that.
Want to speak?
My name's Al Ambrosini. I'm the new Fayette County Commissioner. Let me just give you a little bit of advice and maybe direction. Coming into office 4 months ago, one of the things that I found out was that our county had adopted the new Universal Code, zoning code, 2006, and it was kind of a one-size-fits-all type thing. Well, because everybody knows that that's not the case. So in the process of, and actually nothing's been done to that code since 2006. We've had a number of issues that cost people money, affected the way they do business. So I'm in a process of using just simply a common sense approach to modify that, so where it allows people to do their business without costing them money unnecessarily, and it does just some common sense things. Now, I've looked at the international property maintenance code that you guys are considering. I would actually strongly urge you to not adopt that. There's a lot of provisions in that code that are very invasive, I'll say, to the citizens. You know, most people like to go through life making their own decisions, and, things like, what size your bedroom is not exactly something that we as public leaders should work about. Trust me, there's a lot more important things in this county to fix than worrying about somebody's bedroom size. Now, if there are some issues with, ordinances that, protect people and that sort of thing, that's fine. I would encourage a more common sense approach I think that this ordinance that you're considering, there's so many defects in it that you're going to spend years trying to fix them all. And it's really going to be a problem, more of a problem for you, and it's not going to help the very people that you're trying to help.
Well, at one time, a couple of years ago, we did presented a nuisance ordinance that was not liked either, and it was not near as much as this one is. Now,
When you say not as much,
not as all-encompassing as this one is. It didn't say anything about bedroom sizes, it didn't say anything about screens on windows but it did, although it did say grass is only 10 inches, and this one says 12 inches. But that was, we didn't do that one either because people didn't want it.
There's a theme there.
See, Mr. Commissioner, the people speak all the time and say, but you get guys up here that they won't listen and won't do what the people want, they do what they want to do. And everything's done shady around. You know, they can't do stuff
They don't
telling
work
you.
for us, we work for them.
Yeah, you know, things that happened last March meeting, this should have never been tonight. They bring it back up in April, because there's nobody around. Now, we're here
They'll
tonight.
bring it
and
back next month.
Yeah, they want to bring it back next month. You sit here and we speak to them, and they do not want to listen and do what the people want of this community.
Impeach them.
Yeah, how do we get them out?
I have to admit that this is a much better turnout than I get at my commissioners'
I must say one of every month. Everybody sitting in this room is my boss.
Yeah, you
And
work
that's
for how about
exactly
the
that way
other
too.
two?
That's the only reason
How
I
about the
ever ran
other
for
two?
office. You are my boss.
Right, we're your boss, how about the other two? They don't listen.
They need the power to satisfy their ego.
We put them in there, we're gonna take them out next time.
That's what I said.
They forget who they work for now.
Oh, come on, quit insulting them, Jesus Christ.
The only thing I'd like to add is that we as elected officials should listen to the community.
Oh, I agree.
Yeah, do it then.
There's 100 people in here, where's the other 1,900 residents of the township?
It's only 1,600 over the age of 18.
Well, they don't know who's doing that. Yeah, they're probably coming tomorrow. You know what you're up to.
How many people spoke at the March meeting, and where we at today?
Thank you.
Let's adjourn.
Yeah, he's done it.
Too hot.
I'd like a motion to adjourn.
Motion? Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
We'll be back next
Yep.